right?
We didn't know, because at that point now, nobody knew about it, and besides Michelle and I and Josh. And so we thought, what do we do with this information? That our son did this back 12, 13 years ago. There was a couple more times that he came and told us what he had done, and we were told us what happened. And it was after that third time he came to us is where we really felt like, we have done everything we can as parents to handle this in-house. We need to get help.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. It's Monday, November 15th. There was some movement on the Josh Duggar case today, and we on the weekend, on Friday night, talked about how the government wanted to bring in a material witness. And this material witness was named Robert Franklin. And everyone was like scratching their heads. And then we looked at the documents of when he was in jail, and we noticed that he was put into the same detention center as Josh 2 days before, and that Josh and him might have just hung out in their cells together. We don't know this to be certain, but we can guesstimate given the fact that no one I've talked to knows anything about who this guy is. No one knows who he is. He has zero connection to the Duggars at all. And because of that, it's believed that he was likely his mate in the cell and that Josh might have spilled the beans to him. So the government wants the judge to allow him to come to the court in an effort to try to prevent the government from actually speaking to their witness. The defense had filed this motion where they stated that they didn't want the government to be able to speak to their witnesses during the trial. They filed this motion basically saying they wanted the witnesses to be sequestered, and because of the witness sequestration, that they should be able to not be able to speak to their own witnesses. But the defense could speak to their witnesses. And they did state that they might have someone sitting at the table with them, and it seems like that person sitting at the table with them might be this witness, and it might be simply because this witness is in custody, and in order for him to not be in the general population, he's going to be in shackles. I'm guessing they're going to place him by the prosecutors in this case. So they fought back and said that this is ridiculous and they want to be able to speak to their witnesses. So today, the judge ordered in the case that this person will be testifying. And apparently Josh is freaking out because they wanted to prevent the government from even being able to talk to him. So now that he is going to be testifying, I'm really curious to see how they'll be reacting to this. But in an order today by the judge, it says that it's ordered that the clerk of the court issue a writ of habeas corpus ad testificandum directed to the following: Sheriff, Washington County Detention Center, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and the United States Marshals Service for the Western District of Arkansas, requiring them to produce the body of Robert Franklin to attend the trial regarding the above entitled case, for which he is a witness, scheduled between Tuesday, November 30th through Friday, December 3rd of 2021. And they said that he will be in the room and that Robert will be returned to the detention center at the close of his testimony. So they don't know when he'll be called, but they need to deliver him there every day. So now that we know that the witness is going to be testifying, one of the other sticking points that they have been fighting about was this defense. Is he going to be able to blame William Mize? Is he going to be able to blame his employees that he says set him up? Well, I said that he is entitled to a defense, but he's also not entitled to perjure himself. He's not entitled to lie. And one of my longtime subscribers, actually who is an attorney, sent me this message. I was watching your live stream late, and I want to let you know that while Josh is entitled to a defense, he cannot knowingly commit perjury to put on a defense. If the prosecution can provide concrete evidence proving that the said third parties were not present the court can prohibit the defense from asserting knowingly false statements as fact. And she just said, as a lawyer, I wanted you to know how his defense could be denied. So he's not allowed to perjure himself and present knowingly false statements as fact as a defense. So this is why the prosecutors want to not allow him to do this, because they say there's no possible way these three people did it. And his attorneys were trying to say, well, you don't actually have to be there for the stuff to be downloaded. So thank you to my gracious, amazing subscribers for always coming through and always delivering on the goods for me. Now, the next topic that we need to talk about is that Josh wants to rewrite history. We know that the Duggars have been very outspoken and have legitimately admitted to things that have happened to their daughters that Josh has done. They did a Megyn Kelly interview where Michelle and Jim Bob basically aired out what happened without telling all the details. Miss Jessa and Jill did their interviews and they outed themselves after they didn't out themselves. The magazine In Touch Weekly put out the police report and then they attached their names to it and said, yes, we were two of the victims. And they have stated what happened to them. And in the police report, it says that Josh has admitted to it, right? And the Duggars would not allow Josh to actually be interviewed by police as a part of that investigation. They did put in a family in needs of services, and Josh did receive counseling for it, and they did go through the court, the juvenile court system to get the girls services and to get the girls counseling and to get Josh counseling. But now his defense wants to assert that this might not have even happened. I'm not even kidding you. They want the court to not allow evidence of this because they say that it may not have even happened and that the report that they have is so highly redacted, how would they even know? This is what they say in their argument about one of the reasons why they don't want Josh's actions against his sisters to be a part of this case, which the prosecutors say can be admitted because it's CM and it's a pattern of behavior and it shows that he has a history of being attracted to minors, okay? But this is what they say. The evidence disclosed to Duggar by the government related to these uncharged allegations creates more questions than answers. The report is heavily redacted and importantly includes no names or dates of birth of anyone involved, making it exceedingly difficult for anyone, much less this court, in ruling on the application of 414 to determine whether Duggar actually committed the alleged acts in the report and whether the conduct, if committed, constituted a crime, particularly in light of the affirmative defenses clearly set out in the statute. So they want to reject it and they say, you know, there's no proof that he even did this because it's so highly redacted. We can't even tell who it was. Even though Jim Bob and Michelle have publicly stated who it is, even though it's clear in the report that it's the oldest son, even though there was a juvenile case that was forwarded through the families in needs of services to the juvenile court, even though his sisters are suing the government for releasing these documents and have clearly stated that they actually were the victims. And Josh Duggar has stated in his own court filings that he did this because in 2016, he filed a lawsuit against Springdale and he claimed that his rights were violated. In a court filing from 2017, when he sued the city, he wrote this. Jim Bob and Michelle provided Detective Connor with details of the alleged SC, including statements previously made by the plaintiff, who had been inappropriately touched, how many times, and where those contacts took place. In particular, Jim Bob and Michelle were asked the ages of each person and the details of the sleeping arrangements. So he admits in this document that his parents told the police about what he had done, who was involved, and what it included, and that his name appears throughout, and that he believed that this would be kept confidential. So he acknowledges that his family members told the police about what he had done. He acknowledges that his parents told the police about what he had done in this filing. And now he wants to say that that may not have ever happened. Another tidbit is that Justin states that this was highly redacted, but in his 2017 filing, this is what his attorney said, that the redacted version of the incident report the county defendants released to the In Touch defendants made no more than a pretextual effort at protecting the rights of the plaintiff. Despite a handful of cosmetic redactions, the released incident report included information identifying the plaintiff as the juvenile offender and the alleged victims, including Jim Bob Duggar's names, the family's current and former address, and other personal details of the plaintiff and the children. They released the incident report expressly identified one of the alleged people as a 5-year-old sister. So in this argument in 2017, they want to argue that it was so unredacted that everyone was able to be identified. Justin Gelfand says, we don't even know that it's him because it's so redacted. Another part in this same lawsuit that he filed, that he put on record himself, he said this: the city defendants and county defendants released distributed confidential and intimate personal information relating to the plaintiff's status as an underage juvenile offender. The information disclosed represented some of the most intimate aspects of the plaintiff's youth and is the type of information that is a reasonable person would expect to remain private while in law enforcement's possession. So he also acknowledges that he was listed as an offender, but in this filing by Justin Gelfand, he's saying he's not. So the thing here is that they might have access to this redacted report, but they also have access to this lawsuit that's literally filed in the same court and was presided over by the same judge. So what is it, Josh? Did it happen or didn't it happen? When it didn't benefit you that it was released to the public, it was not redacted enough, right? And you didn't want it out there. And now that that same report is going to be used against you, maybe in this case, now it's too redacted. You said in 2017 that this was so unredacted that it made your life unmanageable. You wanted pain and suffering. You suffered severe distress because of this. Your privacy was violated. You filed multiple actions against the city, the county, for failure to protect you as the person that did this. And this was filed again by Travis Story, who is again on your case here. So Travis Story wrote something here that said you were the offender, you had a right to privacy, your rights were violated, everything that was said by your parents and your sisters and everything else should have been kept confidential because it was highly sensitive. Today, your counsel is saying, we don't even know if it was him. Make that make sense. You've got everyone on the record, including your own statement that your parents put out on their social media that said 12 years ago, as a younger teenager, I acted inexcusably, for which I'm extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends. I confessed this to my parents, who took several steps to help me address the situation. We spoke with authorities where I confessed my wrongdoings, and my parents arranged for me and those affected by my actions to receive counseling. I understood that if I continued down this wrong road, that I would end up ruining my life. I sought forgiveness from those I had wronged and asked Christ to forgive me and come into life. I would do anything to go back to those teen years to take different actions in my life today. I'm so thankful for God's grace, mercy, and redemption. Even Josh Duggar's own public statement acknowledges that he did this. So he puts a statement out. Anna goes on Counting On and says that she already knew about it. Josh Duggar's sisters go on Counting On and talk about it. The family goes on Megyn Kelly and admits it. But we're just going to ignore all of that because it was too highly redacted to even identify him, even though there's a court record that said it was so unredacted that they identified him. You can't have it both ways. And again, Travis Story's I don't know if Justin's just ignoring all of this or if he's just trying to deflect, but I don't know if this is actually going to work, because there's more than just that report. They could potentially gain access to his juvenile records if they go to the Department of Human Services. They might not become public, but they could request those. They could ask for information as if he was a part of the offenders registry. There's a lot of things that the government has access to that they can request records for that are not redacted. So I don't know who they're trying to fool with this, but it seems like they want to rewrite history. And again, it's more mental gymnastics by the Duggars. So Josh Duggar's witness is going to be testifying against him. He is trying to rewrite history, and I want to know what your thoughts are in all of this. What does the witness know? Why does he want the prosecutors not to be able to talk to this witness? And why is he now changing his story about what he did to his sisters? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.